And today we're going to discuss the controversy of the week, a really quite intriguing controversy. Can Superman blink or not? Seriously, stick with it after the intro. Hello, Pop Consumer Society, welcome back! This is Cuatro Coisas, and today we're going to raise a question here that became a controversy on social media. Because in the Superman teaser, the one that was previously shown, there's a scene where Superman, after a battle, is walking through the crowd, and the crowd is furious with him. And some guy comes and throws, not darts, but throws a can at the Man of Steel's head. From behind, from the back, in a sneaky way. And Superman reacts. He gives a wink like this, you know? And then it caused a reaction, right? That's absurd. He wouldn't even feel it because he's invulnerable. Because he's a man of steel and she was made of aluminum and so on. That's wrong. That's a nerfed Superman. That's a soy Superman. That would never happen with Zack Snyder's Superman. To begin with, what happened with Zack Snyder's Superman, nobody said anything, right? That's true. But let's stick to James Gunn's Superman here. So, man, there was this discussion, there was this debate at the time, this extremely important debate, and now with the official trailer, the first trailer, if you notice in the same scene, they digitally removed Superman's wink. Superman doesn't wink anymore. He gets hit on the head with a can and doesn't blink. He stays unfazed. And then the discussion came back. Did they do the right thing? Did they do the wrong thing? Why waste time on this? That's also one way to look at the situation, and I want to share my opinion about the case here. First of all, let's not discuss Superman's physics. Let's not discuss Superman's physics, because otherwise we'll go crazy here, since nothing makes sense. The man flies. We'll sound like the guys from the Big Bang Theory. Superman catching Lois Lane from a helicopter would break her into 3 pieces. So, let's talk about what the director wants to convey with that scene and why it makes sense in this case. Because Superman theoretically is invulnerable. A can would never hurt Superman, but that doesn't mean he can't feel the contact or the impact. He still has sensitivity, right? If you touch him with your finger, no matter how invulnerable he is, he'll feel the pressure of your finger on his chest. At least I think so. So, when he feels the can hit his head, even though it doesn't hurt him at all, he doesn't flinch in pain like, ow, like Hulk. You know the Incredible Hulk that everyone is praising now. But Creeper Hulk has a scene in the cave. He quickly stands up, hits his head on the ceiling, and exclaims, ow! Which is ridiculous, because that's when he actually felt pain. He doesn't even feel pain, but he feels the contact and the reflex. His reflex is to blink, just like you do, like this. He blinked. Now when I put some jump scares here in the video, you blink. Isn't that right? I don't think it's absurd for him to blink, not in that sense, as an involuntary reflex that anyone has. But Superman isn't just anyone. Really, he's not. But the director's intention in coming back here to what the scene wants to convey, it's a moment of vulnerability. It's a moment of humanity. It's a moment when Superman is realizing that no matter how hard he tries, no matter how much he gets dirty, how much he gets burned, how many people he saves, he will never be enough. He will never be unanimous. And that he will suffer injustices like that one there with the crowd booing him after he had given everything to destroy the monster that was attacking the city, even though he ended up taking a good part of the city with him in the fight. So to convey this humanity of Superman while being an alien, They chose to give him a natural human reflex because if Superman doesn't have any reflexes since he's invulnerable, he'll become a figure. Static that will just slide around standing up like Homeman Man. And he won't show any sensitivity to anything, and that's not the director's intention. It could be, sometimes Snyder, for example, he takes Henry Cavill and makes Henry Cavill like an impassive bronze statue, because he wants to convey that in this scene, Superman's confidence is absent. The events unfolding are not related to confidence. In fact, it's pain and frustration, and the wink helps build that characterization. Without narration or a speech bubble expressing his sadness due to public dislike, he must convey it through his expression. The context of the scene is unknown from just a shot. Then he blinks his eye. Removing the wink seems unnecessary as it doesn't really affect anything. But if you start removing the normal reactions of a human being, for example, Superman takes a fire spit. He puts his hands on his face. Why does he protect his face? Because he's never going to get burned. On the contrary, he's going to burn his shirt sleeve. Why does he do that? To protect himself, it's a reflex. It's a defensive reflex, even without knowing or even knowing that it won't do anything. Because it humanizes, otherwise you fall into the so dark uncanny valley where you start to find that figure too strange, you can't relate to it. Your brain loses the ability to connect it to a real person. Looking like a statue, like a stick figure. And then the uncanny valley comes in. Then people start complaining about other things like, oh, Superman looks fake, he might be fake. They took away all the actor's physical performance. So to begin with, it's not important. They spent hours just to remove that little wink. There was no need for it, just to please, I don't know, crazy internet people. And the discussion is completely pointless. It's totally absurd because we're talking about an invented character, a fictional figure. Super V doesn't exist. You can't just go up to him and ask, hey, is it true that you blink? No, I never blink. That's wrong. My eye never itches. So I don't blink. There's no problem with that. Okay then, so the first ones don't blink. There was a movie. The robots had a strange vibe due to a characteristic. They didn't blink. It was hard to pinpoint until someone pointed out, hey, have you noticed that none of the androids in this movie blink? And the guys were like, damn, that's true. I don't remember which movie it is. If I find the image, I'll put it here for you. But that's it. I think we've reached an agreement and found common ground about Superman's wing. But what do you think? Do you still disagree? Or do you agree? Or did you just agree now? Write down here in the comments. We'll be back soon with another pop culture topic. After the intro, click the channel options to stay with me a bit longer. Remember to like and comment to support the channel and get more content. There are at least 3 daily videos, so subscribe and turn on notifications to get alerts. See you soon. Bye. Adriana Zanotto.